Hello, welcome to this severe weather update. Very quick update for spots of the plains and also the east coast. We still have a slight risk today. Spots of Delaware and Maryland and into southern New Jersey as well. That's slight risk. We have a marginal risk from Kentucky to New Jersey down to South Carolina and Virginia. So we have a marginal risk in Florida too, South and Eastern Florida. And also this slight risk in Oklahoma into Texas and Kansas, so be careful. In those areas, there's this margin today still. So the tornado threat is still 2% spots of Texas into Oklahoma and Kansas, like far northern Texas, most of central Oklahoma into Kansas. There's wind 5%, so be careful. And there's 15% the East Coast to some gusty winds, those storms in Florida. And there's hail 15% on the East Coast and the plains. So be careful. This tornado threat is slightly larger than it was yesterday, so be aware. Large hail and severe outflow gusts possible late this afternoon to tonight. Spots of Kansas, central Oklahoma, and the Red River. And a few severe storms also possible this afternoon parts of the Mid-Atlantic coastal region. So stay safe in those areas. And there's here like a slight risk for Texas tomorrow, Sunday, Central Texas, and multiple marginal risks. One in Idaho, into Montana, Wyoming, another one into New Mexico, Colorado, another one in Texas, and this marginal in southern Florida too, and spots of North South Carolina into Tennessee. So be careful in those areas. There's a 2% tornado threat in Texas tomorrow, so be aware there. There's wind 5% in all the areas, be careful, and 15% hail in Texas, and hedged for potential some large hail there, so stay safe in those areas. Scared large hail and isolated damaging winds possible Sunday from mid-afternoon to mid-evening in East Texas, more isolated severe thunderstorms possible in parts of mid-Tennessee, River Valley, into southern Appalachians, central High Plains, northern Rockies, and South Florida, so be careful in those areas. There's day 3 for Monday, already this light risk from Colorado to South Dakota. There's this marginal from Texas to Canada, so please be careful. There's like 15% severe weather threat, so scared severe thunderstorms possible from eastern South Dakota to central High Plains from late afternoon and evening. Monday, isolated severe thunderstorms are possible across a broader portion of central states in Minnesota to the Texas Panhandle. So be careful in those areas for Monday. Tuesday, we still have this giant 15% from Texas to Wisconsin. So this has grown a lot, the area for possible severe storms. So somewhat greater confidence exists for more south, southwest, or to north, northeast oriented swift or severe weather on day 4 Tuesday. This appears focused from southern Great Plains to the Midwest midday to the early evening, and overall the patterns appeared less amplified after day 4, with nebulous severe weather potentials in the central to eastern states. So we still might have something later, but still not so defined. But be careful Tuesday, especially in those areas. It does show here the fire threat is elevated and some dry thunderstorms possible in California, so be aware in Nevada and California, and also the elevated Washington, Oregon spots of the west because of the heat, and still elevated tomorrow into Nevada and California. So be careful in those areas. There's this front passing by Florida with still some stronger storms there in the marginal risk, more spots northern Bahamas, so be careful. This goes like those severe storms around Delaware and Maryland, New Jersey. There's the slight risk this afternoon, and in the plains it will start like really late. The horror is kind of showing very late in Oklahoma, in other spots, shows late into tomorrow morning, because this is practically tomorrow, and I don't know if this is updated, but like the SPC say mid-afternoon to mid-evening. The her here showing like mid to late evening, but just be careful in those areas starting in the afternoon. So stay safe. There's the Cape shows in Kansas even to 3,000 joules per kilogram in some pink spots there. So stay safe in those areas. Shows some on the East Coast, but nothing too crazy, and a lot in Florida. So yeah, be careful in those areas. Still tomorrow in Texas on June 1st. So stay safe, be careful. Here there's the wildfire smoke from Canada. Still, this is the near surface smoke. There's more for further east, North Dakota, and some high concentrations across southern Manitoba and Saskatchewan. So be careful, the air quality there in Canada especially, but also in the northern US, the air quality might get very bad from this. So stay safe. I bet the fires are happening like southern Manitoba towards central northern Manitoba. I have to check the map, but the smoke density there is very high, so stay safe in those areas. There's the near surface one, and the smoke further up, the vertically integrated smoke. So does show as far south as Texas some wildfire smoke, and as far east as the Atlantic. And I saw this morning the smoke has reached all the way to Europe, so literally it's right in Europe. So please be careful this air quality. Now there's like severe weather for this. Let's see if there's something a tornado parameter. Not really. The HER shows a finger or two on the East Coast, but like barely anything, if very little. Later in the evening, it does start to pick up around Kansas, like, but it's like barely nothing. This is very little, but there's the 2% there, so stay safe in those areas. They do have the 2%. So here shows like for today, the updraft holistic, the horse definitely not excited there, but there's the slight risk there, so trust the professionals, because sometimes the models can go weird. There's like the East Coast shows a few stronger storms in Florida in the updraft holistic, so yeah, stay safe in those areas. There's this slight risk of excessive rainfall in New Hampshire and Vermont, so there's some heavier rain there across the northeast into eastern Canada, so be careful. And this includes, like, if you count Canada into Quebec, southern Quebec, some heavier rain, so be careful in those areas. And this marginal that popped up in Oklahoma, so tomorrow in the southwest, probably from like some Pacific driven moisture, maybe the remnants of Alvin, but Alvin is still there dissipating, so yeah, maybe something else. But this goes day 3 as light for Monday from Colorado to Minnesota, day 4 for the severe weather Tuesday, some heavy rain, and still Wednesday shows more, so stay safe. There's like, I don't know what just happened with this update, but the next 7 days they are showing 7+ inches in Oklahoma next 7 days. If this happens, it might be very problematic. Next 5 days, just 5 inches, but 7 days, 7 inches. So we'll watch this very closely for Florida too. There's some storms, and you can see there in northern Vermont and those areas some heavy rain. So be aware. And then the precipitation just 3 days. 3 days is kind of fine, just some storms there, but heavier in Nebraska, so be careful in Nebraska 3 days. But after day 5, it might get crazy, so we'll keep watching, be aware those areas. And I just want to show you something that I didn't show you. So here, there are the day 3 to 7 hazards, some high waves on the west coast because of those troughs coming in, some hazardous heat in Texas again, and more heavy rains, severe weather. So stay safe. This is for Tuesday. the severe weather coming, some short waves within that trough. And for the storms here, let's see if you show like precipitation. So especially like this is the European shows those storms like there Nebraska in those areas. This is still 60, so this still like the storms from late Monday. But here shows like Tuesday, if I can find it. So 18C already shows up this big area of potential severe storms on the European model, especially like later into the night, still shows some. So stay safe in those areas. There's still like it doesn't show Cape here because it doesn't. It does, but you have to pay. So here shows like the Cape for Monday, so still shows Monday in Nebraska and those areas still showing some very high Cape on the European, even to 3,000 joules per kilogram in some areas. And Tuesday the European doesn't show as much as Monday, but it does show more than 2,500 in some areas. So that's enough Cape to get dangerous. So stay safe in those areas and be careful. We still have like so here's some weather alerts. So still the heat advisory, some red flag warnings down the west, an extreme heat warning still. Probably in Minnesota the air quality alerts because the wildfires, and yeah, is this a frost advisory? That is a frost advisory, so it might get chilly. So this goes still shows that heat wave in the southwest. The European models is even like to 106 in California today. In that valley, might be even more, shows more spots there. There's the HER that shows in precision. So it shows like Furnace Creek to 114, more spots to 114, those valleys to 104, close to 105 other spots in California. So stay safe. This goes, but there's this light cooler air in eastern Canada that's bringing some far is in the northeast. So Sunday night, and yeah, and also in the western US there it's slightly colder, maybe by Monday there in the mountains. So be aware those areas in Canada shows this is Monday, like northwestern Canada into Alaska, some negative temperatures, and those show especially northeastern Canada some too because of a surface cycle there brings slightly colder air, but this warm air ahead of the. So still in Manitoba and those areas, the warm air is right where it shouldn't be because of the fires. But later it might cool down central Canada next week maybe, but still warm enough. So still warmer later. So we'll keep watching those areas, but later it will might heat up a lot in Texas again. So we'll keep watching that for next week, possibly to like more than 100 Fahrenheit, southern Texas again. So we will keep watching those areas. There's rain here. Still shows some very heavy rain next 5 days in Guatemala, southern Mexico, right on the Pacific coast. So be careful there. Costa Rica too, some heavy rain southern Honduras and El Salvador. The European went crazy about Florida and Cuba. So there's the GFS, somewhere near Florida and the Bahamas. But the GFS is like in a different universe. It shows this more than 100 meters, big portion of Nicaragua, Honduras, and the European node. The European shows just in the Pacific. So be careful in those areas. The icon is also heavy rain around Florida, probably to like 4 inches, 3 to 4 inches. So stay safe in those areas. Just checking snow very quick, still shows some in the Rockies on the European model and possibly the Sierra Nevada. So be aware, showing snow in Nunavut, Northwestern Territories, next 5 days from northern Manitoba and possibly southern Alaska, heavy in the mountains, northern Yukon, northern Alaska a little bit, and possibly into Quebec and Labrador some snow. So be aware, possibly the GFS also in eastern Canada there, in the mountains, Alberta, British Columbia, spots of Nunavut, Northwestern Territories, and also in the Rockies, the US finger too. So be aware those areas. And thus showing the Eastern Pacific, Alvin is dissipating, but these areas are to 40% south of Central America and Mexico. So we'll keep watching this for next week, but be aware those areas. So let's just see what the ensembles are showing here, because there has been this hurricane hype caused by the GFS. So this is the European model, not the GFS, and now it has some more sneaky ensembles trying to sneak into the Gulf by the second week of June, and it has some around Central America too. This is the European. So now the GFS is completely different. It has like more support, has some going to Florida. A run from this morning has a cat 2 into Florida, but I don't trust that because it's, the GFS. But the ensembles have interesting things too. So we'll keep watching. There's the East Pacific, so they'll show a lot of support for something else to form and maybe head west on the Eastern Pacific. And there's the European on the Eastern Pacific, and it does show even more support than the GFS for something to form just south of Mexico. Those waters are very warm there. Where Alvin is now, it's already colder, the waters, but further south it's warmer. So be aware those areas. And I just want to show you something here for like the sea surface temperatures, the ocean heat content. So let's see if I find it here, especially the ocean heat. So there's like the sea surface temperatures are much warmer in the Caribbean, even close to like 29, a few spots to 30 near Cuba, and Florida is already warmer. But the ocean heat content, let's see if I find it. I don't know why it's showing the Western Pacific instead of the Atlantic. So yeah, so I guess if you click Pacific, this is so weird. I don't know what. Here, it's Atlantic now. So it shows like spots of the Caribbean slightly more. It's still kind of warming up because it's still the end of May, but that shows some ocean heat content ramping up off of Jamaica and Cuba, those areas there. So better watch like Central Atlantic showing some ocean heat content too. But if you check the average temperatures, the sea surface temperatures are kind of below average compared to last year in the Central Atlantic. So we keep an eye on that as well. But be aware in those areas. And just one more thing, just to see if there's any big wind or anything. Still in the Appalachians, in the East Coast, San Hargas, maybe into New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Sundays, like San Hargas. It's still Sunday to Monday, so be aware. In Atlantic Canada, potentially Central Canada, Tuesdays, some slightly Hargas. The severe weather system, the US there, San Hargas, and off the West Coast, those high waves, Wednesday, like Tuesday, Wednesday and next week. So be aware of those areas.